The candle from the box her lawyer had mailed with the house keys. "To help you see," he'd said cryptically. As the flame flickered, she noticed strange etchings carved into the walls, symbols she didn't recognize, circles intertwined with serpentine figures. She told herself they were just the work of her eccentric mother, who'd become obsessed with occult research in her final years. Emily wandered through the empty halls, each step echoing like a heartbeat. Memories surfaced in fragments, her mother whispering at night, the forbidden attic, and a lullaby that wasn't hers. When she reached the staircase, a cold wind swept through the house despite the closed doors. "Welcome home," a voice whispered, soft, feminine, almost familiar. Emily froze, her pulse racing. She spun around, but no one was there. Only the candle flame dancing wildly. She tried to laugh it off, blaming exhaustion. But then the old grandfather clock struck 3, though she hadn't seen it move in years. The sound seemed to rattle through her bones. Upstairs, the light in her mother's room glowed brighter. Against her better judgment, she climbed the stairs, her fingers tracing the rail's worn wood. The door stood ajar, revealing a room preserved in time. Lace curtains, a vanity with scattered photographs, and a mirror draped in black cloth. On the vanity sat a leather-bound diary. Emily hesitated, then opened it. The first line read, "She has returned. Lilith watches me from the mirror." The entries grew more frantic. Her mother spoke of a spirit bound to their bloodline, the first woman cursed for defying the divine. "She promised me beauty and eternal love," one passage said, "but she took my soul instead." Emily's hands trembled as she turned the pages. The final one was dated the night her mother died. She says Emily will free her. She says the daughter must take the mother's place. Before Emily could react, the mirror's cloth slid to the floor, revealing her reflection, except it wasn't hers. The woman in the glass had her face but darker eyes, deeper lips, and a smile that didn't belong to her. "Hello, Emily," the reflection whispered. The candle flickered out. Emily stumbled back, heart pounding, but the reflection didn't vanish. It reached out, pressing its hand against the inside of the glass, and the surface rippled like water. A cold breath brushed her cheek as the voice whispered again, "You've grown beautiful. Just like I wanted." Emily fled the room, slamming the door behind her. Downstairs, the house seemed alive, walls shifting, portraits smiling. She tried to call her boyfriend, Aaron, but there was no signal. When she looked again, the phone screen glowed with a single word, "Lilith." Then the call disconnected. Thunder roared, shaking the windows. The front door slammed shut on its own. Emily lit another candle and noticed something new. The carvings on the walls glowed faintly, pulsing like veins. They formed a pattern leading to the basement door, the one she'd never opened as a child. Against all reason, she followed the trail. The air grew colder with every step down the creaking stairs. The basement was cluttered with relics, jars of herbs, old books, animal skulls. In the center stood a large mirror identical to the one upstairs. This one wasn't covered, and in its reflection, the basement was filled with dozens of women, all resembling Emily, all whispering the same name, Lilith. She screamed, but no sound came out. Her reflection smiled again, and this time it stepped out. The air rippled, and the figure became solid. Her doppelganger in every detail except the eyes, which were entirely black. "I was the first," the entity said softly, circling her. "Your mother tried to resist, but every daughter must awaken me." Emily backed away, trembling. "You're not real," she whispered. The figure laughed, a sound that made the walls tremble. "I'm the truth you buried, the rebellion you inherited. I am Lilith, and you are my vessel." The creature lunged, grabbing Emily's wrist. Her veins darkened, spreading like ink under her skin. She screamed, pulling free, knocking over the candle. Fire caught on the dry floorboards. The basement filled with smoke as the flames spread, but Lilith only smiled, walking through the fire unharmed. "It's useless to run," she whispered. "You called me here." Emily stumbled up the stairs, coughing, flames chasing her. She burst into the parlor, searching for an exit, but every door had vanished, replaced by mirrors. Each one reflected a different version of her, laughing, crying, screaming. "Choose," they chanted in unison. "Choose your reflection." Desperate, Emily smashed one mirror, then another, but the shards kept reforming. She picked up a fragment and saw Lilith's eyes staring back. "It's already done," the voice hissed. Emily clutched her head, feeling her thoughts unravel, memories twisting. Her mother's lullaby, her own childhood laughter, the whispers that had haunted her dreams. The flames reached the room, heat searing her skin. She fell to her knees, staring into the final mirror. Lilith stood behind her reflection, placing a hand on her shoulder. "Sleep now," she murmured. "When you wake, you'll be me." The world went white. When Emily opened her eyes, the house was silent and untouched. Morning sunlight streamed through the windows. The fire, the smoke gone. She stood slowly, her body aching. Everything looked different. The air smelled sweet. The portrait smiled gently. In a mirror, her reflection smiled too, but this time it moved before she did. Her lips parted without her command, and the voice that came out was not hers. Finally, it whispered. Days later, the realtor who came to inspect the property found the house immaculate, and a woman in black waiting at the window. She introduced herself as Ms. Carter, smiling politely. Her voice was warm, her eyes soft, yet something about her gaze made him uneasy. That night, he dreamed of the same woman, standing in a circle of fire, her shadow stretching like wings. When he returned to the house a week later, it was empty again. But in the mirror above the fireplace, he saw his own reflection smirk. Years passed, and locals began telling new stories about the gray house, about a woman who appeared at the window whenever the moon was full, whispering to anyone who dared approach. They said she lured visitors inside, promising them eternal beauty, eternal love, eternal power. None who entered ever returned. The legend grew until her name was whispered again in Hollow Creek. Lilith, the woman who defied God, the mother of demons, the curse of her own bloodline. And somewhere deep inside that house, behind the mirror's silver veil, the real Emily still screamed soundlessly, watching through glass as Lilith wore her face, waiting for another daughter to come home.